like to know about your experiences when it comes to going to the space.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for the introduction. That is true. Our mission was truly international. We can say with representatives from India, Shubhanshu Shukla, one of my crewmates, me and people representing Poland and Hungary, as well as Peggy Whitson, the most experienced NASA astronaut in the history of the human space flight. We were Peggy representing the United States. And if you count that, the European Union with 450 million people, 350 million people in the United States, and 1.3 billion in India, we were representing one mission, representing almost 30% of the global population. And this is what space is about, is collaboration and building technologies through cooperation of many nations. No mission is an endeavor of one person on one organization, or often today one country. We were going to the International Space Station, and that is just tremendous collaboration of multiple agencies, multiple continents that survived 25 years in orbit and having human presence for 25 years in space. And I think this just in itself is amazing. Polish mission was a big chance for us. You were Poland. It was a big chance as well for the Polish institutions and Polish companies to execute science, technology demonstrators for the first time on the International Space Station, on this the most amazing scientific laboratory built by humanity. And then throughout the next years, I hope we'll benefit from that. We'll benefit in our private sector, in academia and science institutes, thanks to science that was executed on orbit, but also an inspiration of new generation of engineers that are going to go on the market that will contribute to the next field of technologies of power. But going a bit larger, this is all about collaboration. We were collaborating as a crew. We were collaborating with the NASA crews. We've been trained on 3 different continents. The scalability of space is global. This is one of the most important directions where actually we build impact through collaboration with others.
I think everyone would be keen to listen more about you, and I would be keen to listen about your experiences with the Indian astronaut who accompanied you, Shubhanshu Shukla. But sir, coming to you, the 3C the regional architecture has seen a lot of progress in several areas. Space is one thing. How do you see when it comes to space cooperation among these 13 countries, and how they can share the best practices?
Well, welcome to everyone. First, I think there are good practices, good examples for joint missions within the 3Cs countries. But for sure, the regional cooperation is a bigger one. So it needs a shared vision and a bigger planning. As we were speaking about the X4 mission, the Hungarian orbit, or the Honor program, it was one of Hungary's part of Hungary's space strategy adopted in 2021, and it still is. And the EX4 mission with Tibor, it can be a regional reference point that shows that how a mid-sized 3Cs country can plan and deliver a human spaceflight mission, and it could evolve into bigger cooperation. At this point, I just wanted to add that the impact of the mission, it would be quite educational also. It has an educational aspect. In Hungary, with this same mission, it was an exhibition opened called Universum in Budapest, which is highly successful, and it can gather younger generations to be involved more in STEM subjects and maybe hopefully be the next astronauts.
Correct, sir. You've given overview about Hungary, but carrying forward to you, sir, when it comes to Poland, Poland is taking a lead in many ways when it comes to Spain. Perhaps you can highlight 2 key points which our viewers, people would be keen to know about internationally as well, because this bulletin goes to India as well, and on WION, I mean, we have a large broadcasting system. So if you can talk about how Poland is becoming the pole star when it comes to space.
Thank you very much. If I could ask for a couple of slides to illustrate what I'm going to say, because one picture say for 1,000 years, 1,000 words. Yesterday there was a very interesting panel in this room discussing how the Europe can survive in a growing global competition, how we can ensure our autonomy. There were some voices that we should have better regulation to protect our market, to protect our economies. But there was a very strong voice from Christine Cafara from UK saying that no, I mean, regulations are necessary, but they will not solve our problems. I mean, we have to build our economies, we have to build our strengths, we have to build our advantages, we have to build our competences. And this is what we do in Poland, and this is what we do in Polish space sector. This is what we do in Create Instruments company I have a pleasure to represent. We already have quite a big space heritage. Our apparatus went to space on more than 40 missions with European Space Agency and NASA. Our apparatus still is flying and working around Mars, for example. And our company is rapidly growing for 350 people today, but growing significantly. Our capital is something like 1/3 of a billion euro, and still very rapidly growing. We have big facilities to do everything in house, starting from design through procurement up to testing. We have 6,000 square meters facilities to be able to produce 10 satellites per year, but we are already start to build a new factory for 50 satellites a year. So next slide, please. You can see that now we are not longer interested in single satellites. We are building constellations. The first one was just launched about 2 months ago, 3 satellites called Piast for our first King dynasty. The satellites for our Ministry of Defense, they are very successful. They are making pictures for defense use and for civil use. Next constellation, again for Ministry of Defense, will be launched this year. The constellation Micro Globe for Earth observation, and then in 2027 we hope to launch a constellation we built together with European Space Agency, optical satellites and radar satellites. And so now we are ready to cooperate with other countries. We know that other countries in the region, especially in free seas region, they have big space ambitions, and they have huge needs for space technologies. So we would like to help them. We are ready to help them in all possible ways, either by proposing ready data, or delivering satellites, or delivering components so companies can build satellites by themselves, or providing end-to-end services as well. We are very open for that. And what can we do with that? Next slide, please. I mean, please note that if a satellite, Polish satellites, needs to make pictures of Poland, it should fly over Greece, Slovenia, Hungary, Romania, Slovakia, Czechia, Poland, then Latvia, Lithuania, right? So we have to build what I called hybrid constellation, that for example, Czech satellites flying over Poland can make picture for us, and Polish satellites flying over Czechia can make picture for Czechs, right? So in order to we can do that, and with this way we can really have a big constellation serving all of our nations. How to do that? Next slide, please. I mean, there are two options. The simplest option is that we just exchange the data from the satellites. Of course, we preserve the principle that every country owns and fully operates their own satellites. But then we can go even farther. Even ground station could be shared. So each one stands as a backup for the other one, and we can download the data faster, and we can also task the satellites faster. So I believe that this is the future of Europe. And indeed, the European Space Agency just initiated the program European Resilience from Space, Earth Observation, and there is so-called element 2, when they work on those kind of hybrid constellations from many countries. We believe that this is an excellent tool to ensure cooperation in Europe. Thank you.
From Poland to Austria, sir, your experience, you are someone who's leading an important think tank when it comes to space. How do you see not only the cooperation, but interaction with other space agencies globally?
First of all, yes, we're based in Austria, but we are European independent institution. We have pretty much all national agencies, also ESA, as a member, European Commission and others. It's a very good example of a European ecosystem that already works together as ESA does, and you mentioned already programs. So first, thank you for having us here, and congratulations for the setup, also for the regional initiative, and congratulations to what you presented, which is a big achievement already, and you have great industry. So before I come to the working of how countries and agencies may work together, which they should, which they do, and ESA is a perfect example of this. Maybe word on the industrial side, because I think we just had an industrial perspective here. We can do lots of policies. What we need is industry. We need innovation. We need competitiveness. If you want to have sovereign capability, you need to control the asset. You need to control the innovation. This is what other world regions and powers do, East and West. And we learn this comes also with dependencies. So it is essential, and we have very good examples across the street this morning, a very nice presentation of two of your companies. And I think to really to see this develop and industrial capabilities across the regions in bigger and smaller countries. And it's not about that you need to build an entire space station or a rocket. It can be elements that we call upstream, that is things that fly in orbit. But it can be also things that are downstream, which is really data processing, data fusion, user services, what you do with the information, how you integrate it into the economy. So it is really an enormous opportunity of the time. And I think we should really, in all the policy talks, and I say this as a policy institute, if you like, but really take industry and help industry at center stage. And just a quick word, and we can discuss it further in a minute. Obviously, agencies, and if you look at ESA, but also national agencies, most of the money goes into contracting into industry. It is procurement, it is big procurement, it is support to innovation programs, but it's also building. It can be supply chain, it can be systems, it can be complete infrastructures in orbit. So I think these mechanisms exist today. They are extremely successful. We just had the ESA ministerial a few weeks ago, a record result, never at a level of subscription seen before. And it is a proof of the multilateral mechanisms that within Europe still work today. And that was really a European statement of countries coming together for common objectives.
Correct, sir.
If I just can comment on that. What I have shown is that we can ensure the cooperation on the European or regional level on the technical ground. But in order to make it happen, we need political agreement, we need policies, and therefore the institutions like ESPI have an absolutely crucial role in this process. They serve as a bridge between the industry and policymakers and decision makers. And I really count on your organizations, your organization. I've seen and appreciate your cooperation with European Commission and European Space Agency, because those kind of bridges are really important. The industry is ready. We need the policies. We need the policies to implement it.
We got a lot of insights when it comes to the industry and, of course, a leading think tank. Coming to the practical aspect, you've been to space and you've been with other nationalities as well. One astronaut was from India. What's your perspective being part of such an international team? What kind of experiences you have shared? and how these experiences can help countries in the 3C initiative.
Let me maybe start with one, because we had a business perspective and policy making perspective from the institute. Let me start a bit with the macroeconomics of within the European Union. So the Central and Eastern Europe is developing much faster, but with an average growth above 2%, 2.2 to 2.6% of the countries in the region. So this gives the momentum. Compared to Western economies in Europe, around 1 to 1.5%. And this creates a unique opportunity. Actually, technology build-up, technology development loves momentum. Momentum is there. Momentum is in Central and Eastern Europe. And after the Ministerial Council in Bremen in November last year, Poland signed a memorandum of understanding to create the first ESA site in Central and Eastern Europe, in Poland. Now the real question is how it will take shape, where it's going to be, what kind of activities are going to be on that site. These are big questions, but it already shows the expansion of the agency and interest in Central and Eastern Europe. And so from the macroeconomics perspective, there is really a big opportunities in the regions. Coming back to your question, what kind of opportunities does echoing spaceflight creates and common projects as Hungary or Ignis programs or Indian mission joining us shows tremendous capabilities of the countries that have never executed a mission on the International Space Station. We as Poland delivered 13 technology and science experiments, 13 contracts that were 100% delivered, tested, executed, delivered to the ISS and successfully performed in orbit. It shows bridging the gap of as accelerating decades sometimes of development of very mature markets into months or small years of development in innovative economies. And we have these capabilities to execute the successful missions, but also to build branches of industry based on technologies that, the time to market of these technologies gets shorter and shorter. And so already countries with no history of the spaceflight can contribute much on a wider scale. And thanks to that innovation and bridging that gap, building specification, delivering, testing solutions and training technological capabilities, together with human-in-the-loop experimentation, as well as effective operations of orbit, it shows these capabilities are already in the region. Now, the real question is what will happen in the future? How we are going to harvest the talent and these capabilities to scale and grow the market in the growing economies. And that's a question for the next months and years. And I hope that we will see this tech development in the coming months.
Fascinating. Coming to you, Mark, the human space programs across the world, whether it's Poland, whether it's Hungary, or whether it's India, how they are important in terms of understanding space, and how in 3C countries, are there any such initiatives which you would like to cooperate with, Hungary would like to cooperate with, or give their know-how?
Well, sure. It's about cooperation, as I said. By decision of the Hungarian government, it was from one day another in the strategy written, as I mentioned, that we had to develop and plan such a mission, so it's open to everyone. So it's not such a difficult thing. Maybe you wouldn't agree with me, but from a small country's perspective, it just needs planning and an ambition to do so.
Have you got any interest from any country from the 3C countries that they would like to cooperate with you, or have you offered?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Maybe
in the future, yeah. It's like Saul said, it's evolving the technology, and every experiment done in the ISS, it's directing us toward another mission to continue this approach.
So you gave a very good industry perspective, but what are the challenges that industry sees in terms of space, in terms of cooperation, or any roadblocks do you see which you think should be removed by the governments of the region?
Well, first of all, I can say for my country that, you know, a few years ago, I mean, the politicians were not interested in space at all. Okay. If someone started to talk about space, the other were laughing on him, saying that he's talking about some green little people from Mars, right? Now they start to fight each other who will rule the space. So that's very good, okay? But still, it's not only in Poland, but in many countries, still decision makers, they do not yet appreciate enough the role of space technologies today and in the future. I mean, well, some lessons are coming from the Russian invasion on Ukraine. We see that the Ukrainian forces can withstand this massive attack only because they have almost live transmission of what's going on the Russian side, thanks to the satellite data from other countries. You know, today, I mean, the wars, the battles are not won by the amount of fire, by the amount of steel, but by the amount and the precision of information. But also in everyday use. I mean, the biggest client of space data is agriculture today. We all use navigation. I mean, we use satellite data every day, and we are not conscious about this because this is so popular. I mean, some years ago, I mean, people ask what the computers are for, what the internet is for. Today, the question is just stupid. I mean, in a few years, the question what the space technologies are for, where the space technologies are used, will be equally stupid. They're everywhere. So we need more understanding, more appreciations of the role of space technologies. Again, giving an example, Poland declares 5% of GDP to be devoted to defense, right? If we now count all the money going for space activities, both civil and defense in Poland, it's 1/200. So below 1% of this 5%, okay? So, I mean, we are still living in a previous century concerning what is needed for our security. And I don't mean only security in terms of military defense. We suffer from many different crises like floods, massive forest fires. I mean, different changes of the conditions of the weather and so on and so forth. And space technologies is the solution for that. How to predict, how to prevent, how to handle. We have tested this in Poland in many cases. We see that, but still, I do not see enough appreciation of that among decision makers, both in Poland and in Europe. European Commission is waking up a little bit, announcing programs like IRIS Square for telecommunications, like Earth observation governmental system for the satellite data observing the Earth. This is just the beginning, but we need more.
So coming to the policy making, Sir has given a lot of examples of how it can be used for cooperation. Any specific example that you can highlight in the 3C region where satellites have helped, whether it's agriculture, whether it's dealing with an incoming natural disaster?
I think we had a very nice map that you showed in the observation where you see the path of the satellites and they fly across those regions, which is a perfect example. And you could do the same for communications. Mm-hmm. You could do the same for improved navigation. But this is what we call space applications, and it's certainly the domain where Europe is very strong already. Mm-hmm. Now, so this is true for that region. I would argue that if it comes to politics and interoperating also in politics, and not only on the system layer or data layer, there are other regions that do similar things. You look at the Scandinavian countries, they also come together and they look into what does the Arctic mean for us. Now you are neighbors. I mean, the region we have here is neighbor to that region. And I think the beauty of today is that you made the reference to the internet, which is a very good one. Internet is an interconnection of networks, of individual pieces. They talk the same language. And in space, you can do the same today. You will do it in commercial space stations where it's not one piece, but it's different pieces, also in a federation, hopefully. But we can certainly do it on ground. And it has become much cheaper for regions and nations and industry to produce satellites at a lower cost, get them into orbit at a lower cost, and then come to common interfaces and into operation. And you mentioned, which I think is the example on European level today, which I would advocate as a good example, the ERS program that was in the ministerial. The subscription to the program continues to be open this year. It will be very interesting to see who joins in this internet of space capabilities. And then a region like this can develop its own capabilities. You made the perfect example. You talk to neighbors in other regions. And I would go one step further, which is extremely important. And I would look also east and maybe India and regions that today Europe really needs to reach out and diversify partnerships in regions to really interoperate, say, with Japan, with India, with South Korea, with Australia, with Canada.
Actually, I was coming to that point to both of you. How do you see India as a partner? Because India has fairly advanced space programs. India has part of initiative sent man into space. We have another initiative. In fact, we have been able to go and land a probe on the moon as well under Chandrayaan. So how do you see India cooperation or India space initiatives?
Well, I think for the exploration part, you have the expert on your right. I would maybe give a more general answer. India is an IT nation also. It is an innovation nation. It's a young nation. It's an ambitious nation. And I think it is also a nation that in terms of cost of production is interesting. So the teaming between certain know-how which you may have in Europe, great engineers in many countries, also in small countries, you don't have to have a big country for that, with the capability that come with somebody like India. And not even mentioning the market size. I mean, this is also in terms of market. You mentioned 450 million, and you add the population of India, which is the biggest, 1.3 billion by now, I believe. So this is certainly something that should be in the strategy. There have been talks in Delhi. I was there at a recent exploration conference, but I don't want to anticipate the better answer from my colleague.
You would like to answer? Can you forward?
Yeah, I think these cooperations are really important, and you can see this already. Unfortunately, our Director General couldn't join us, and on behalf of him, I would like to actually stand up a bit. The Ministerial Council, we mentioned this a couple of times, but here for the audience, what is the Ministerial Council? This is this meeting that happens every 3 years in Europe, where member states of ESA, the European Space Agency, gather together to discuss plans for the next 3 years and what we'll invest in. And we mentioned a couple of programs there. And during the Ignis mission, during our mission Honor, Ignis, and the mission with India and the United States during Axiom-4 mission, ESA signed multiple collaborations. I participated to signature of the collaboration with JAXA, with Japan. During the Ministerial Council, Canada quadrupled the investment at ESA to run common scientific and common technology.
And 10 times overall.
Yeah, 10 times. Poland quadrupled as well its contribution to technology programs. And with respect to CN22, 3 years ago, this is an increase tenfold into technology optional programs. And this, after the mission, with the momentum, this is what we can build on. We can build the future. Together with India, there is an ESA collaboration going on as well. India has an upcoming human space program. So Axiom-4 was the precursor of the Gaganyaan program. I don't know now if the first human flight is planned for 2027 still, but this is yet the next space power coming up to the landscape with capabilities of human-rated launchers, the capsule, and the human program that maybe Europe needs to catch on to be able to offer these capabilities. Do we see it as competition? No. More possibilities on the market and more, vehicles, more access to space is more diversity, it's more innovation, more capabilities and solutions actually to access space and build this whole ecosystems together. And we demonstrated to ESA that this is the way in Europe how we collaborate together with the partners in Japan and NASA and it's Canada the upcoming with India as well. And I hope these collaborations will grow even further. And obviously, in nominal GDP of our Central and Eastern Europe, our economies are not so big, but with the momentum coming up, Central and Eastern Europe will become a bigger technology partner, and hopefully also as ESA with growing, investment and technological capabilities, bringing services for the whole Europe.
If I can continue on this topic, I mean, to me, cooperation between Europe and India should be a balance between keeping autonomy and specializations. I mean, we don't need to do everything from scratch on both continents, right? But in Europe, I mean, we are better in space exploration now, and also in producing satellites for Earth observation and telecommunication for practical use. But in India, you have an excellent fleet of launchers. I mean, you have a big portfolio of different sort of rockets, from the small one to big one, which we do not have in Europe. So we can cooperate, we can further develop our competences in this satellites, and you can further develop your competences in the rockets, and we can join the forces, still keeping some activities in the other areas to preserve autonomy.
We're running out of time, so last word to you, sir. If you would like to add something better, perhaps maybe India, but just for giving the perspective from your country.
Well, we're a small country within the ESA framework, and mostly our industry works with ESA as a subcontractor on recent projects. But we can dream big, of course, and have some consortia with India also. But I just wanted to ask that ESA is for us a great opportunity for our industry to participate in such endeavors. We increased as well our contribution by 87%, and we're planning to increase it much more further as the projects are coming, and we are participating more in this.
But you summed it up really nicely. Think big. That is something that all of us, whether it's India or other countries, doing so. And perhaps that is the word when it comes to this panel discussion on space, which is seen as the final frontier. Thanks for watching.